Hi, Erin. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm really good, thanks.
That's good. Thank you so much for joining and doing this interview. I really appreciate your time.
No worries at all. I always love talking to you, so it's always fun to have a bit of a chat.
Oh, yay. That's awesome. So, how long have you been a wellness advocate with doTERRA?
Well, I've actually been a wellness advocate. I bought my oils in March, just over 3 years ago, but I was simply a customer back then. So when I started with doTERRA, I bought the Home Essentials kit and I used those oils for over 12 months. And so it will be nearly 2 years. So 2 years coming up in a couple of months since I actually started as a wellness advocate doing the business of doTERRA.
Fantastic. So, was it, I'm just going to throw you off here, but was it the use of the oils that got you, well, these are amazing? So, how did you transition?
Yeah, absolutely. So I used the Home Essentials kit and I did have them in my house, but I probably was someone who was super busy and we incorporated them into our lifestyle, but I wouldn't say that I was someone who necessarily put on the diffuser every morning. But we loved them. We love the smell. I use lavender in the kids' baths and certainly if we had any health ailments, we'd go to the oils, but I found that we lived a fairly healthy lifestyle, so we didn't have major health issues or anything like that. But for me, probably the transition was I went on the Loyalty Rewards program and bought the mood management kit. And I have 3 little children, and at the time I put balance and frankincense in my diffuser. And none of my children were good sleepers. So my eldest, he was 3.5 before he started sleeping through the night. And at this point, I had a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-month-old. And we put balance and frankincense in the diffuser, and all 3 of them slept through the night. And that was a miracle in our house.
Well, I got to try balance in my house for sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blend that just made all the difference to us. And so with that, and I guess with that experience, I just wanted to tell everyone about it. And I have connections, I guess, with lots of mothers groups and lots of mums and things like that. And so I just went, hey, everyone needs to know about this because I seem to be surrounded by people who have the same issues. And so that's really when I decided to step into the business. It was about then.
Fantastic. That's an awesome story, Erin. That's so good. I'm going to try that tonight.
Yeah. I actually put that on my social media a bit, and then I get all these people messaging me saying, oh, I was really unsure, but, that did work for me too, so it mustn't be a coincidence. So definitely try it.
So what's your current rank?
I am platinum at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, which is really exciting.
It's so exciting. It's so awesome. So how many in-person classes have you hosted? And I mean, it doesn't have to be an overall, but it could be like roughly an average that you do monthly or something like that. Because I know it's hard to know exactly how many classes.
I know, it is really tricky. And in some ways, I wish I'd recorded it because it'd be really amazing to be able to go, oh, I've done 100 classes now, which I'm sure I'm pretty close to doing at least 100 classes. But so certainly when I started out, for the first 10 months in my business, I would do at least 2 classes a week. So I'd say on average probably between 6 and 10 a month.
Yep.
And I found that really quite easy, to be honest, at the start. I guess you're tapping into new networks and I was really passionate and people were getting amazing results. So it just kind of flowed really easily. So I did that for 10 months. And then I was in a position at that stage where I got to really live our dream, and my family and we moved into our caravan and we went traveling around Australia. So we did that for 10 months. And so I guess during that time, my business transitioned a little bit, and I still did in-person classes. I certainly, especially along the East Coast where I knew people, I stopped off and did classes. I did just some open public classes in random places where I didn't know anyone. So it did continue. And I continued to talk to people along the way in our travels and did a lot of one-on-ones with people that I was meeting. But obviously I wasn't doing 6 or 10 classes at that point while we were traveling. But since we've been back in December, I'm probably back to doing at least one a week.
Yeah, that's fantastic to get that momentum up and running constantly, because that's good amount of classes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that is, well, I've found it is the best way to get in front of people.
Yeah.
And for me, you know, I always say play to your strengths, whether you like doing one-on-ones or doing classes. But like I said, I've got 3 little kids. And so for me, I prefer to do a class, because if I'm going to spend 2 or 3 hours talking to people about the oils, I'd rather present it to 20 people and make the best out of my time than to do it just in one-on-one. But in saying that, I do one-on-ones, I do whatever is going to be best for those people, what they feel comfortable with, how it's going to work best for them.
Awesome. I was going to ask you, how have you grown your business, but I think you've just answered that.
So I think, yeah, definitely doing classes. Just really looking at, I think for me, it is looking at who do I think will benefit from these oils? Like, how can I enhance someone's life? How can I really help them get the best out of their life? And once I really look at it from that perspective, I have no hang-ups about going to them and approaching them and saying, hey, I really think this would help you. Would you be open to me coming and chatting to you about it? And that's how it kind of snowballs. So like I said, a lot of the time it is classes, but whatever's going to be best for those people.
Yeah. Definitely. I think the little key you said in there is really having a belief.
Yeah.
It does show, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So online, what's been your most successful online platform?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I am pretty active on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
And learning about online platforms is actually something that I really love doing. I just find that it excites me, and I spend a lot of time, you know, doing online webinars and things like that to really learn how to grow those platforms and to get the most out of them. So I don't even know if I could tell you which one's been more successful for me. I probably have similar followings on both.
Yep.
I don't mind talking in front of the camera. I love doing lives and videos. So in that sense, I like Facebook because I tend to do that a lot. But I love the prettiness of Instagram and that creativity. And I really like connecting with people on Instagram. And I find that even on Facebook, people will comment, but you get less of that one-on-one interaction. Whereas on Instagram, I do get a lot of one-on-one interaction, and I do spend a lot of time private messaging people. And so I do get people on Instagram reaching out to me privately saying, you know, this is how I want to get started, or things like that. And it's really enabled me to grow my business and my networks internationally as well, which I love. So
awesome.
Yeah, which is pretty exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
How do you bring in your enrollments?
So most of them are in person.
Yep.
Definitely, not just social media. I think I love social media, but I really think social media is like a long-term game. Yep. You know, it takes a long time to build a following and to build relationships with people online. You have a much better connection with people in person. And I think that at the end of the day, people buy from someone they like, know and trust. So definitely growing my business has been more in person and reaching out to people, sharing my passions of the oils and just living that low tox life. So yeah, getting to them that way, sharing samples, sharing experiences. That's really how I guess it's grown.
Yeah, fantastic. That's awesome. Yeah. And how do you find people to build a business or co-create a business with you?
Yeah, look, that's a really good question. It's one, to be honest, I have had people come to me saying, I really want to do this business with you. But a lot of them don't stay in the business. I think they think that that's what they want, and they see the hype and they might see the vision of where they want to get to in the future. But most of my builders come from just using the oils. They love them. They get amazing experiences with them. And so they find they really transition into becoming almost sharers naturally, because if they've had an experience sort of similar to me, my children slept. So the first thing you do is go to all the other mums that complain about their children not sleeping. Go, here, try this. You can borrow my diffuser. You can borrow my oils. And then they get results. And so they become sharers that way. And some of them, even almost resisted at the start. They're like, oh, no, I don't want to be doing that, But then it just happens that they love the oils and they're like, well, I'm telling everyone about it anyway. Let's just look into the business model and how it might work for me. So I really do think that that's how it grows. It comes from the love of the oils, but also them understanding that there is a business opportunity for them. And I think the only way that they can know that is if we're sharing it with people as well. So it's not a share as in you need to join my business or a push or anything like that. But like I'm always saying to my team, if you want to do this as a business, for example, yet you have so many blocks around even telling people that this is your business and this is what you love and this is what you do, then no one's going to know to come to you. And it's sort of the same thing with sharing the business opportunity. If you're not talking to people about it, if you're not saying in your classes, there is an opportunity to do this as a business if this is what happens, if this inspires you, or if down the track you love your oils and you want to learn more about the business opportunity, there is an opportunity for you to join my team and for me to mentor you. But if we don't say that to people, they would never know and they'll just go on using the oils and loving them, and that could be a missed opportunity too. So I think it is just sharing with people, following up and allowing them to love the oils and the products, and then I think it really happens naturally.
Absolutely, Erin. Someone I met at a class actually said to me at a class when I started to talk to them about the business opportunity at the end, oh, is this not just your little business and your oils? And I was like, I wonder how many people actually thought that perhaps and just didn't know. And how would they just know, right? And we could just assume sometimes. So absolutely very, very, very true. Very, so
absolutely. And if you're not following up and really nurturing your customers and making sure they're getting the most out of the oils, and then, being there so that they can ask those questions, well, how did you get into it and what did you do? Then you will have missed opportunities. So it is really about sharing the opportunity of the oils and sharing the opportunity of the business and nurturing those people so they become the customers that you want,
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So with the people that you talk to and you meet and you give samples to in your classes, how do you convert them into getting the intro kits, into starter kits?
So there's probably two things that are key, I think, in that. One is really working with that person and meeting them where they're at. So I think that listening to them and their needs is really important. If you go into a situation where you're like, I really want to sell a Nature Solutions kit, for example, and that person is sitting there saying, look, I'm really strapped for cash. Like I can spend $150 or whatever it is. And these are the things that I need. And you go in there going, I want to sell you this Nature Solutions kit. It's never going to happen. And they're going to get frustrated because you're just trying to make a sale. So for me, I turn all of that off. It's not about my business anymore when I'm talking to someone. I really try and listen to them and find out what their needs are and work out what is genuinely going to be the best value for them in their situation. However, in saying that, I have such a strong belief that the enrolment kits are the best value. So they are the most cost-effective way to get started. They do provide you with the most used oils. I started with the Home Essentials kit, and I would say I still use those oils 70% of the time probably. And And so I really see the value in someone starting with the Home Essentials kit at least.
Yeah.
So when we're going through their options and we really listen to them, if they're wanting calming oils, we can go through and talk about frankincense and lavender. And, you know, if they're wanting support for whatever, their respiratory system, or, you know, we might start going, okay, we could spend $35 enrollment fee. We'll add these couple of oils. But look, for an extra however much, you could actually get the diffuser and these top 10 oils. And so you've got an extra 6 oils, but you're only paying a tiny little bit extra. And trust me, everyone, like 80% of people that I sign up actually start with a Home Essentials kit. And the people who don't, most of them come to me a few months later going, I wish I listened to you and started with the Home Essentials kit because now I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it is still listening to them and their needs and where they're at. But I have such strength, like such a strong belief in those kits that I really like bring it back to them. And so no matter what they say to me, I'm like, well, you're still going to get better value from buying this kit, you know. And I really try and look at them, and I'll, you know, sometimes I'll say to them, I'm really sorry. Sometimes I will say to them, you know, you might even be better to save for another month.
Yeah.
And get started with the Home Essentials kit than you are to get started today with not so much, you know, because at the end of the day, that's going to save you more money and you're going to get better value because you're going to get the oils that you want. So I really think that that's how it comes. It is from my belief that I just want to do the best thing for those customers, but the best thing for them is generally to get a kit.
Yeah, awesome. Such a great answer. Very nice. Thank you. So what do you feel your strengths are and how do you use them?
Oh, it's always a hard one. I love looking at other people's strengths, but when you have to put a mirror in front of yourself and talk about what your strengths are, I always like, oh, what are my strengths? What am I good at?
That's a good exercise though.
Yeah, I think that for me, my strengths are probably like my commitment to natural health. So my everyday lifestyle, even before I started doTERRA, this is my passion. I love looking at what we're putting into our bodies, what we're putting onto our bodies. How can we make that better? How can we make our bodies thrive? How can we give children the best start? And so now I've got young children, but even before that, you know, my passion was always working with children and pregnant women, and how can we really give people the best start with the least amount of toxins so that we don't have to detox them, so we don't have to get rid of these things later on down the track. And so that has always been a really big passion of mine. So I think that naturally, once I was introduced to doTERRA, these products fitted in so beautifully with my life and I love them. And regardless of whether I was doing this as a business or whatever, they would still be a massive part of my life. So I think that's a really big strength because I have that unwavering belief in the products, in doTERRA as a company, in the business model. You know, like even as this business, I see the opportunities that this business can bring other people. So obviously being able to share with people and enhance their lives by getting rid of their toxins and allowing them to be better people, but also the way that this business can change my life and my family's life, like having that opportunity. You know, even say, like I started when I had really little kids, like little babies, similar to you, Annie, like, you know what it's like doing this. But I see that as a real strength because having this business opportunity, like, it allows me to have something that's for me. It allows me to be a better mum, a better wife, because I've had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mum, which I love doing. I spend time with my kids. I help raise them. We nurture them. But I still have something that's for me, that I love, that's my passions, that lights me up. And so it gives me that, I hate the word balance because I don't think balance is like a true definition of something that's even achievable, but it gives me that balance of something for me, still giving back to them. And so I can show people how to live that lifestyle, I guess. So I guess that is a strength. You know, and just having the vision, like I know that I can make it all the way in this business. I don't know how long it'll take me, but I have that commitment that no matter what happens, you're not going to throw me off my path. So I think the commitment to living a healthy lifestyle and the commitment in this business and having the vision for myself and for others and knowing that it is possible are probably my strengths.
Yeah.
That other thing, I don't want to talk about how good I am and all my strengths and things like that, but the other thing that I see as a strength is probably my ability to talk now, you know, and I just wanted to really bring this up because when I was at school, I was often on the student council. I was, you know, bicycle captain and things like that. And so we had to do a lot of public speaking. But when I stood up in front of the class, I would get really nervous and I get this uncontrollable shake. And it became this really overwhelming thing. I'd stand up in front of people and be like, you know, and got picked on at school and I hated it. And I became so self-conscious of my nerves and talking in front of people that when I finished school, I didn't do it anymore. It became such an issue. I hated public speaking to the point, like, I didn't speak at my wedding in front of a room of all my loved ones because that terrified me. And almost to the point where I got anxiety going to anyone else's wedding or any situation where someone had to stand up and speak because I felt so nervous that someone would even have to do a speech. Like, how could they do that? Yeah. And then a few years ago when I was an owner in the chiropractic clinics, the wellness clinics where I was working, I had to start running staff meetings for them. And that terrified me. There were people that I knew that, you know, I spoke to every day, but to put them in a room and them have to listen to me was really terrifying to me. I used to get so nervous and I'd be so organised, but I never felt like I was great at it. But I had to do that every week. So slowly but surely I got more and more confident doing that and standing in front of a group so that by the time I started doTERRA, yes, I was still really nervous, but I was overcoming those fears. And so now I don't have an issue presenting this information with 20 people or who are, you know, whatever's in the room. But I really want to bring that up because even though I see that as a strength for me now and people say, oh, how do you get up and do Facebook Lives or whatever it is, it wasn't my strength to start with. You know, it was something that was my absolute fear, but I've worked through it. And I think it's the same with other people that go, oh no, I couldn't do that or I couldn't talk in front of a group. You can if you allow yourself to learn, you know, if you allow yourself just to put yourself in those situations that scare the hell out of you, it becomes easier. And I think that that's something that we do really well in doTERRA as we work on ourselves. And we put a mirror in front of ourselves and go, hey, what are my strengths, but what are my challenges and how can I overcome it? And that's probably like some of the questions you've asked me, how did I grow my business and what are my strengths? I think it is that ability to go, hey, what can I work on for myself at the moment and how can I make that better? And I'd say that that's how we grow our businesses and that's how we grow ourselves. And that becomes a strength, you know, our weaknesses become a strength. So
thank you so much for sharing that. That's a real beautiful insight of how much you've really grown, and it is a very growth business, isn't it? We do become better people and strengthen our weaknesses, which is absolutely amazing, Erin.
Yeah,
that's beautiful that you shared
that.
that.
But I think it's really important for other people to know that because it's easy to look at people in higher ranks or in these top positions and go, oh, but it was easy for them. They were confident. They, you know, they know lots of people. They have a social media following. Whatever it is, it's easy to look at them and say it was easy for them. Yeah. But you don't always know the background and the work that they've done and the obstacles that they've overcome to get where they are. And I think that that's what makes a difference between people who perhaps make it or they don't. It's that ability to really go, this is a challenge, but how can I overcome it and how can I make myself better for doing it? And I think that's what this business is all about. Like you say, it's a growth business and it's how do you grow yourself?
Yeah, and so many people along the way myself and pretty much everyone I know have had to overcome a lot of their own fears and doubts. And, you know, just to get onto the other side of that can be really, really empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, even for me, I'm not saying that I don't ever get nervous. Some days I'll show up to a class and there might be 4 people there and I'll be like, oh my gosh, where is this coming from? I feel nervous even though I've done this so many times before. And I just write it. It's just what happens. I love the saying, I think it was Tony Robbins that said, feel the fear, but do it anyway. And that is like one of my biggest mottos. It's like, okay, if I'm feeling scared, doesn't matter. I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
People can be my friends. They're going to understand, you know. So, yeah, I think that's a really big thing.
Absolutely. So last question, Erin, what are your hot tips?
Well, my hot tips are step into this business, feel the fear, but do it anyway. You don't need to know everything when you're getting started. Like if I look back to when I started, I really see that there's so much happening. There's so much momentum in my business. But that wasn't when I knew everything. You know, I just try and learn along the way. But I think at the end of the day, if you come from a place of passion, if you feel with heart, if you listen to the people who are around you and really try and recognize how you can help them, then that's how your business is going to grow. So if you are open and honest with people, even if you are just starting out and say, you know, hey, I'm just learning these oils, but I'm getting really amazing results and this is what I know about them, then that's all you need to get started in this business. You don't have to be a guru. You don't have to know the science. You don't have to be an aromatherapist. It's just sharing what you know and your passion. So live your life passionately, live the oil life, and it will happen.
Fantastic. You have been amazing and I have loved sitting here having this interview with you. Thank you so much, Erin.
Oh, no worries, Annie. Thanks for having me. I know that I like to talk once you get me started. I keep going and going. But yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to chat to you. You know, you're a leader that I love working alongside. You know, I consider you one of my friends, and that's one of the things that I love about this business is it has been my, I guess, coping mechanism. I've got this beautiful network of women like you who we're not in the same, you know, downline, upline necessarily, but, you know, you bring yourself together with these amazing women and they become your support network, they become your friends, and that's one of the things I love most about this business. And so, yeah, I really appreciate chatting to you and having you in my life too. Thanks, Annie.
You make me all emotional, Erin. Thank you.
No worries at all.
Bye.